very, very controversial policy. This is partnership schools. In the US, known as charter schools. Just before the election, the government announced 3 more charter schools, all promising to improve education. It's an ACT Party thing, so let's go to David Seymour. Yep, well, first up, what are charter schools?
Well, partnership schools are a way of bringing educators and social entrepreneurs who have an idea about how to engage kids in their community who might not otherwise do very well and get them qualifications so they can go and have jobs and feel good about themselves.
Why do we need them?
Because what we have is not working. If you get some of the best education in New Zealand, you're the best in the world. That is a statistical fact. Our top students are right up there. But we also have, and this is well known, a long tail of people who just aren't getting the qualifications despite spending 12 years at school. And so if you look at, for example, and by the way, the best way to understand these is concrete examples, go and visit them. If you look at the Vanguard School on the North Shore, you have a kind of police
Someone in the audience saying a disaster.
Yeah, well, look, everyone's entitled to an opinion. Doesn't mean it's very good one.
Unregistered teachers, strange curriculum.
No, let's be clear about that. If you want to debate the policy is that you can have teachers who are not registered with the Teachers' Council. If you show in your application what qualifications they will have.
To that. What do you think
Why
about
should
that?
the Teachers' Council have a monopoly on deciding who a teacher is? These are the ones
Chris,
that fail
fair
all the
enough.
time.
Well, Chris, that's fair enough.
If it means that kids aren't going off surfing during the school day, if they're not taking drugs, if they're not engaged, if they're actually showing up to school, then that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with saying that we should have high standards for those people who are working with young people in New Zealand.
Yep,
Why
absolutely.
is it that the ACT Party think that anybody should be able to work with young people regardless of whether they're qualified to do so or have any relevant skills to do so?
Up to 20% of people in mainstream schools aren't doing well.
And
here's an idea.
It's
just an idea.
The funding, which is what the charter schools are getting.
Not
they
true
could
at
do
all.
a heck of a lot better too. Charter schools are getting 5 times the funding of regular state schools.
Oh, that's rubbish.
Why not give that money to the regular state schools?
Stuart Smith.
Actually, that's not true.
It is true.
They are not getting more than... They're funded exactly the same as other schools to the same level, although they do have their building funds put out that they manage, but it's the same level.
Put it this way, if we were to re-establish Auckland Grammar today and count the total cost of that in the first year per student, that'd be some very expensive education too.
All right.
We're talking about a scale issue. The thing is, these schools, by and large, are small, and
Hang on, what is wrong, Stuart, with tipping the money into strong state education?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I mean, I was talking to a professor from New York. He said one of the reasons he came back from New York was because we still had great state education.
Well, we do have great state education, but I think as was pointed out, we actually have some people that are falling through the cracks. And this is operating choice. If parents didn't want it, they wouldn't support it.
All right, Jan Logie, why not have a go at charter schools? Why not?
Well, there's several things, and ACT has been explicit that their agenda is to privatise education. They don't believe the state has a role in education. Jamie White said it in July.
It's not about privatising education.
Well, it is.
It's about
Jamie
choice.
White has said that explicitly. Choice is another word for privatising.
Well, it's not my
Actually,
word.
in neoliberal language, it is. And the point is, if we use that money to invest in our communities, we've looked at the charter schools that exist, we've been told it's about kids that are being left behind. Children with high special needs are some of those children being left behind. And the research we've done shows that no child is in that category is enrolled in a charter school. So it has nothing to do with lifting their experience.
What is wrong with Willie Jackson applying for government funding, opening a school at Ngā Whare Marae, and combining the bilingual with the spiritual? It's something that's not...
Well, there's 2 points here. One, we have special character schools as an option where people can do that through the state system. That is not about privatisation. We also have, like Mangere, they're setting up a charter there that is going to drag resources out of existing kura that are surrounded.
Kids are going to choose to go there. And could I just say, on the board that established the policy was somebody who had established 2 special character schools. She'd been through that. She knew how hard it was to operate them. And she, Vicky Buck, was in favour of this policy. So to say that special character schools are the answer betrays a lack of knowledge about the facts.
No, it doesn't. Right. It shows a valuing of community over business.
So why shouldn't communities be able to establish schools using their own insights? That's what we're in favour of.
That is not what you're
ideology.
All right, we'll come back. Before we go to the audience, what school did you go to?
I went to several schools. Manu Primary, Auckland Grammar.
All right, good. To do well at school?
Quite well. I mean, I went to a Decile 1 school and a Decile 10 school.
What about you, Chris?
I went to Waterloo Primary School, Hunt Intermediate, and Petone College.
All right, good education? Do
Yeah,
well?
great state education.
Good state. What about, did you have a good state education?
Yes, I went to a school with 60 other kids, Springburn School as a primary school, and then went to Methven High School, which is now known as a much loftier title, Mount Hutt High.
Would you send your kid to a charter school?
No, I don't. Well, they are not at charter schools at the moment. One's at a...
Are they private schools?
No, one's at St Bede's in Christchurch, which is a special character, is a religious school.
It's an integrated school.
And the other one
and
is...
would you send your child to a charter school or partnership school?
My mythical child?
Yeah.
No. I value community. And I value state provision of education because then we have a say in shaping it.
Well, I've got 2 children with special needs, and one of them is at a state-run primary school, and the school is failing her. And essentially, we found that there was no way we could get her into a different school that would suit her needs.
Is there a charter school now set up that's doing that?
Not in the area. So that's what we're. That's what.
Hang on, Jan. Hold on. You'll get a chance. This is me and him now in the audience. All right.
If there was a charter school in the area that suited what my child needed, I'd certainly be looking into it.
It's a big if, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, someone would have to set it up, and it'd have to be good.
That's what I believe was what ACT is looking for.
So what are you going to do at the moment then if there wasn't, when it comes time...
The problem is with the zoning, it's very difficult to get her into a different school. She's stuck. She's stuck into the school that she's in because of the state system.
Well, I think actually you make a really, really good point in terms of Oz funding in the schools, and that the level of funding is inadequate. That was one of the Greens' election promises, to increase that level of funding, because it needs to happen. And the schools aren't working for a lot of our students. So actually, we can't just...
You've said it. You've said it, Stuart.
In that situation, because of lack of resourcing.
What did you make of that?
Simply throwing money at things has been proven not to work. We know that, and we found that with proper targeting of welfare...
Special needs kids are not catered for. What would you do, Stuart Smith?
Well, I think I would support the ACT policy of getting charter schools in there.
Okay, support the ACT policy. Labor would throw the policy out, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. We have huge unmet demand for special needs in New Zealand state schools that we've got to do something about. So why throw a whole lot, millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer funding into charter schools that aren't helping one single special needs student around the country, when we could put that money to where it genuinely would make a difference and actually target the kids who need the extra help?